Rain battered the panoramic windows of the penthouse high above the glittering skyline of Moscow. Lightning flashed over the river, illuminating the sharp angles of glass towers and the older domes in the distance. Inside, the air smelled of expensive cologne and cold marble. Armen Vetrova stood near the window, hands clasped behind his back. His reflection stared at him from the dark glass, flawless suit, steel gray tie, expression carved from stone. In the criminal underworld, his name carried weight. Deals closed when he spoke. Wars ended when he ordered them to. He had built his empire carefully, brick by brick, betrayal by betrayal. Behind him, Elena stood in silence. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind 100 times, but now that it had arrived, the words felt fragile. Her hand trembled slightly as it rested against her stomach, still flat, still easy to hide, but already carrying life. Armen, she began softly. He didn't turn around. Make it quick. I have a meeting. The distance in his voice felt wider than the storm outside. Elena swallowed. I'm pregnant. The word seemed to hang in the room like smoke. Armen's shoulders stiffened, but he remained facing the city. Seconds passed. Then, finally, he turned. His face showed no shock, no joy, no anger, just calculation. Are you sure? Yes. Another pause. He walked toward the bar cart, poured himself a drink, and took a slow sip. The ice clinked sharply in the glass. Избавься, этого, хочу, Rебенka. The words were calm, controlled, more frightening than a shout. Elena felt as if the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. What? I don't want a child, he repeated in Russian, as if clarifying a business term. It complicates things. Complicates. Her voice cracked. It's your child. He set the glass down with deliberate care. I have enemies. I have obligations. I don't have room for weakness. Weakness. Tears burned her eyes. You think a child is weakness? In my world, yes. His phone vibrated. He glanced at it, then back at her. I'll arrange everything. Discreetly. You'll be taken care of. The implication made her stomach twist. Taken care of, she whispered. You mean erased. I mean protected from mistakes. She stepped closer to him, searching his face for the man who once stayed up with her until dawn, talking about dreams he never admitted to anyone else. But that man was gone, or maybe he had never existed. These are your children, she said quietly. I don't have children. The finality in his tone shattered something inside her. She realized then that if she stayed, her babies would always live under the shadow of guns and secrets. They would grow up as leverage, targets, bargaining chips. Armen would never see them as anything else. That night, while thunder rolled across the city and his guards rotated shifts in the hallway, Elena packed a single suitcase. She left the expensive jewelry, the designer clothes, the life of silk and danger. She left without a goodbye. By morning, she was gone. Armen noticed her absence hours later. A guard informed him that Miss Elena had checked out. No forwarding address, no trace. He stared at the empty closet. Then he gave a single order, let her go. And he buried the memory. Years passed. Armen expanded operations beyond Moscow, forming alliances across Europe. Rivals disappeared. Politicians shook his hand. He became untouchable, or so it seemed. But in quiet moments, rare, unwelcome, he would sometimes think of the stormy night. Of a word he had dismissed too easily, child. He convinced himself she had done what he asked. It was easier that way. Meanwhile, far from his world, Elena built a different life. She moved to a smaller city, changed her surname, and found work at a community arts center. Money was tight at first. There were nights she cried from exhaustion, holding 2 crying newborns at once, because yes, it had been twins. 2 boys, identical in face, but not in spirit. Mikhail was bold, fearless, quick to smile. Maxim was quiet, observant, with eyes that seemed too old for his age. They both had Armen's eyes. Elena saw it every day. But she also saw something Armen had never understood, strength that came from love, not fear. She raised them with honesty, though not the whole truth. Your father couldn't be with us, she would say gently when they asked. But you were wanted. By me. Always. The years softened her. They strengthened her. They carved resilience into her bones. And then, one autumn afternoon, the past returned. The charity gala was held in a renovated historic theater near Red Square. Crystal chandeliers glittered above polished floors. Cameras flashed as businessmen, politicians, and socialites stepped onto the red carpet. Armin attended because appearances mattered. Philanthropy cleaned reputations. He stepped out of his car, adjusting his cufflinks as security formed a quiet perimeter. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves. And then he saw her. At first, he thought it was memory playing tricks on him. Elena stood near the entrance, elegant in a dark blue dress. Her hair was shorter now, her posture straighter. She looked whole. Beside her stood two boys, about 6 years old, holding her hands. Armin stopped walking. The world seemed to narrow. The boys were identical. Same dark hair, same sharp cheekbones. Same eyes. His eyes. One of them laughed at something a photographer said, the sound bright and fearless. The other noticed Armin staring and tilted his head slightly, studying him with unsettling intensity. Recognition hit Armin like a blow. She hadn't erased them. She had kept them. Elena felt his gaze before she saw him. When she turned, their eyes met across the crowd. There was no trembling in her now. No fear. Only history. Armin, she said quietly as he approached. Up close, he could see faint lines at the corners of her eyes, not from sadness, but from years of smiling. You, his voice faltered for the first time in years. There, yes. He looked at the boys again. His heart pounded in a way no gunfight had ever caused. They're mine. They're ours, she corrected softly. But you chose not to be part of that. The bolder twin stepped slightly in front of her. Mama, Kato Edo. Elena didn't look away from Armin. Prosto Selovic is proslogo. The quieter twin continued watching him. Assessing. Armin crouched slowly, bringing himself to their level. His security shifted uneasily behind him. What are your names? He asked. Mikhail, said the first proudly. Maxim, said the second, still studying him. Armin swallowed. He had imagined sons before, but never like this. Not breathing, not real. He looked up at Elena. Why didn't you tell me? You were clear, she replied. You didn't want a child. Regret, sharp and unfamiliar, pierced him. I was protecting your empire. She interrupted gently. I protected them too. Silence stretched between them, filled with 6 lost years. The theater doors opened, inviting guests inside. Mikhail tugged at Elena's hand. We're going to be late. She nodded. Then she looked at Armin. They don't know your world. And I don't want them to. His jaw tightened. I could give them everything. You already gave them something, she said. Your eyes. The words struck deeper than accusation. For the first time, Armin realized that power meant nothing here. He couldn't command this situation. He couldn't intimidate it. He could only face it. May I? He began carefully. See them again. Elena studied him for a long moment. She saw no mockery, no cold calculation, only something raw. They're not weapons, she said quietly. Not leverage, not heirs to anything dark. I know. It was the most honest thing he had said in years. She nodded once. We'll see. She turned toward the entrance, guiding the twins inside. Just before disappearing through the doors, Maxim looked back at Armin one more time, a long, searching look. As if memorizing him, Armin remained on the steps long after the crowd had moved on. The most feared man in Moscow stood alone beneath the fading autumn light, watching the only thing he had ever truly lost walk away. Multiplied, and for the first time in his life, he understood that the decision he made on a stormy night years ago had not erased his weakness. It had created it, because now he wanted what he once rejected. Not power, not control, but a chance.